Let's start with something fundamental. You cannot hack your way to strength. There is no shortcut. Muscle growth, true hypertrophy, is not simply about lifting heavier weights. It's a biological response to stress, stimulus, and recovery. And if you understand the mechanisms behind it, you gain leverage. Mechanical tension is the primary stimulus for muscle growth. It refers to the force generated by a muscle when it contracts under load, especially when that load is sustained over time or stretched at longer muscle lengths. When you perform resistance training exercises, you are not just moving weights. You are engaging your muscle fibers in a very specific way that sends a message to your body: adapt or be left behind. That adaptation, when guided correctly, is muscle hypertrophy, the increase in muscle fiber size driven at the cellular and molecular level. The key to harnessing mechanical tension effectively lies in understanding progressive overload. This concept is not a fitness trend, it is a biological necessity. Your muscles are highly adaptable. If you give them a challenge they've already met, they have no reason to grow. But when you incrementally increase the demand, whether through more weight, more reps, greater range of motion, or increased time under tension, you create a new stimulus that forces adaptation. This progression must be intelligently managed. Adding too much too quickly leads to injury. Adding too little results in stagnation. The muscle fibers most responsive to growth, type 2 fast twitch fibers, require high levels of tension to activate. Low intensity training often targets only type 1 fibers, which have more endurance but less growth potential. When you lift heavy or lift lighter loads to failure with controlled tempo, you recruit the full spectrum of muscle fibers. Mechanical tension, especially when combined with near maximal voluntary effort, leads to the activation of intracellular signaling pathways like mTOR and the release of satellite cells, which are essential for muscle repair and growth. To create optimal mechanical tension, the quality of each repetition matters as much as the quantity. Performing a movement with sloppy form, bouncing weights, or relying on momentum reduces the actual load on the targeted muscle. Instead, every repetition should be controlled, emphasizing both the concentric lifting and eccentric lowering phases. The eccentric phase in particular allows you to generate more force than the concentric phase and causes more micro trauma to the muscle, which is a key trigger for hypertrophy. Strategic variation in rep ranges can also optimize mechanical tension. Lower reps with heavier weights tend to build more raw strength, while moderate reps, typically 6 to 12 per set with challenging loads, maximize hypertrophy due to their balance of tension and metabolic stress. Higher rep ranges can be effective when taken close to failure, as long as tension is maintained throughout the set. That means no swinging, no bouncing, no resting mid-rep. The muscle should be engaged from the first inch to the last. Rest periods between sets also influence how mechanical tension affects muscle growth. Shorter rest periods lead to greater metabolic stress, but may compromise your ability to maintain high tension. Longer rest periods, typically 2-3 minutes for compound lifts, allow for more complete recovery and better performance in subsequent sets. This enhances the quality of tension over time, allowing for heavier loads and more muscle fiber recruitment. Equally important is the exercise selection and range of motion. Compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, and presses engage multiple joints and muscle groups, generating more mechanical tension across the body. Isolation movements like curls or leg extensions are valuable too, especially for targeting weak points or enhancing the mind-muscle connection. Full range of motion ensures that tension is applied through the entire length of the muscle, promoting more uniform growth. Consistency in applying progressive overload is what separates temporary progress from lasting transformation. Your body needs repeated exposure to slightly increasing demands. This doesn't mean maxing out every session. It means tracking your weights, aiming for small improvements, and staying mentally focused on the contraction of each rep. Whether it's an extra 2 kilograms, an extra rep, or a slower eccentric phase, the principle is the same. Challenge the muscle beyond its previous threshold. That is how growth is triggered. Muscle hypertrophy, or the increase in muscle size, is not simply a matter of lifting heavy weights. It's about the way those weights are lifted, the tempo, the precision, and the sustained effort exerted on the muscle throughout each repetition. One critical factor in stimulating muscle growth is time under tension, TUT, which refers to the amount of time a muscle is actively working during a set. The longer a muscle remains under tension, the greater the opportunity for it to be stressed and subsequently to grow. Time under tension plays a pivotal role because it dictates the metabolic stress and mechanical tension the muscle experiences during a set. The process of hypertrophy is not just about the muscle's ability to generate force, it's about how long the muscle can maintain that force. Slow, controlled reps increase the total time under tension for each muscle, enhancing muscle fiber recruitment and encouraging a greater release of anabolic hormones. By adjusting the speed of your repetitions, you can manipulate the amount of time your muscle spends under tension, thus increasing the overall stimulus for growth. A typical approach to maximizing TUT involves controlling both the concentric and eccentric phases of the lift. For example, when performing a bicep curl, the concentric phase is the upward motion, where you lift the weight, and the eccentric phase is the lowering motion, when you resist the weight's pull back down. By slowing down the eccentric phase, you dramatically increase the time the muscle is under tension. Research has consistently shown that the eccentric phase of a movement is crucial for inducing muscle damage, which when repaired leads to muscle growth. Slowing down this phase, perhaps taking 3-4 seconds to lower the weight, leads to a greater muscle building stimulus as more stress is placed on the muscle fiber. Time under tension is just one part of the equation. The total weekly volume of training is equally important for achieving optimal hypertrophy. Volume refers to the total amount of work you do in a given period, typically measured as sets, X reps, X weight. In simple terms, the more total volume you do without overtraining, the greater the stimulus for growth. Volume has a significant impact on muscle development because to fully stimulate muscle fibers and trigger hypertrophy, you need enough total work to create fatigue in the muscle. The relationship between volume and hypertrophy is well documented. Most research suggests that muscle growth occurs most efficiently when the total weekly volume is high enough to consistently challenge the muscles, but not so high that recovery becomes compromised. A good rule of thumb is to aim for a total of 10-20 sets per muscle group per week, spread across 2-3 workouts. This volume ensures that the muscle receives sufficient stimulus from mechanical tension and metabolic stress, both of which are needed for growth. The exact volume needed can vary based on individual experience and recovery capacity. Beginners may see hypertrophy with a lower volume, while more advanced lifters often need higher volumes to continue progressing. It's important to note that while increasing volume can be a powerful tool for muscle growth, it must be done strategically. Volume that is too high without adequate recovery can lead to overtraining, which can hinder progress and even increase the risk of injury. A balance of time under tension and volume is key. If you focus only on high volume and crank out set after set with minimal attention to the tempo of your reps, you may miss the full potential of your workouts. Similarly, focusing on slow, controlled movements without sufficient volume may not provide enough of a stimulus for optimal growth. The two must work in harmony. Using controlled movements to increase time under tension while also ensuring your weekly volume is sufficient to continually challenge your muscles. Varying your approach within your training cycle can help prevent stagnation. Periodizing the intensity and volume of your workouts by alternating between phases of lower volume with higher intensity and higher volume with moderate intensity keeps the body adapting and growing. This balance allows for continued gains over time, ensuring that your muscles don't become complacent with the same workload. In essence, time under tension and volume are fundamental drivers of muscle growth. By controlling the tempo of your lifts to maximize TUT and ensuring that you consistently hit the right volume for each muscle group, you create the optimal environment for hypertrophy. This combination not only maximizes the stress placed on the muscle fibers, but also gives them the time and space they need to adapt and grow stronger. Sleep is arguably one of the most underappreciated elements of muscle growth, despite being a critical factor in the process of recovery and hypertrophy. Many individuals focus intensely on their workouts, nutrition, and supplementation, but neglect the importance of sleep. Recovery is not just passive rest. It is a highly active process where the body repairs and builds muscle tissue, restores hormonal balance, and consolidates the energy needed for the next training session. One of the most powerful anabolic tools at your disposal is deep sleep, particularly the stages of slow wave sleep, SWS, also known as stages 3 and 4. During deep sleep, your body enters a restorative state that is essential for muscle repair. As you progress through the different stages of the sleep cycle, your body shifts from lighter, more superficial stages into deeper, more restorative states. It is during these deeper stages, especially stages 3 and 4, that growth hormone secretion reaches its peak. Growth hormone is a powerful anabolic hormone that plays a direct role in muscle repair, fat metabolism, and overall tissue growth. And it stimulates muscle protein synthesis, the process by which the body repairs and rebuilds damaged muscle fibers, making them thicker and stronger. During deep sleep, the body undergoes a process known as cellular repair and regeneration. As muscles are repaired, connective tissues such as tendons and ligaments also undergo repair, helping to maintain structural integrity and prevent injuries. Sleep is not only about the muscle fibers themselves, but also about maintaining the overall health and function of the body as a whole. A lack of proper rest increases the risk of overuse injuries and reduces the effectiveness of training. The sleep cycle consists of multiple stages: light sleep, stages 1 and 2, deep sleep, stages 3 and 4, and REM sleep. While REM sleep is essential for cognitive function, emotional regulation, and memory consolidation, deep sleep is the phase most directly involved in physical recovery. The body's production of testosterone, another key hormone involved in muscle building, is also at its highest during deep sleep, further contributing to an anabolic environment. Testosterone levels, which play a crucial role in muscle repair and growth, are regulated by the body's circadian rhythm, which is closely tied to the sleep-wake cycle. The benefits of sleep extend beyond just muscle repair and hormone release. Adequate sleep is critical for mental focus and motivation, which directly impact your performance in the gym. Poor sleep impairs cognitive function, reaction time, and decision-making, all of which can affect the intensity and quality of your workouts. The mind-muscle connection, which is essential for effectively engaging and stimulating muscles during exercise, is also hindered when you don't get enough sleep. Your ability to push through difficult sets or maintain proper form becomes compromised when you are sleep deprived. To optimize sleep for muscle recovery, it's important to focus on quality, not just quantity. The average adult needs 7-9 hours of sleep per night, but it is the quality of that sleep that matters most. Disruptions such as waking up frequently or exposure to artificial light can hinder the depth of your sleep cycles, particularly deep sleep. Ensuring that your sleep environment is cool, dark, and quiet can promote deeper sleep, as can minimizing screen time and bright light exposure in the hours leading up to bedtime. Also, maintaining a regular sleep schedule helps reinforce your body's natural circadian rhythm, ensuring that you experience the deepest and most restorative sleep possible. In essence, sleep is a vital anabolic tool. Without sufficient deep sleep, your body is unable to fully repair the damage caused by intense workouts, and muscle growth is significantly limited. Deep sleep optimizes the release of growth hormone, promotes muscle protein synthesis, and facilitates the repair of tissues. Prioritizing sleep is not just about resting, it's about creating an environment that maximizes recovery and growth. By making sleep a non-negotiable part of your training regimen, you allow your body to rebuild, repair, and grow stronger, more resilient muscles. Nutrition is a cornerstone of muscle growth, and among the various factors involved in building bigger, stronger muscles, protein stands out as the most critical macronutrient. To maximize muscle hypertrophy, you need to ensure that your body is receiving a consistent supply of the amino acids it requires to repair and build muscle tissue. Protein is the building block of muscle fibers, and without enough of it, the muscle repair process cannot function at its optimal level. Simply put, if you're not eating enough protein, you are limiting your ability to build muscle, regardless of how hard or smart you train. The general guideline for protein intake is around 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. The exact amount can vary based on your goals, body type, training intensity, and overall metabolic rate. If you're aiming for muscle hypertrophy, you want to be on the higher end of this spectrum. For example, a 70 kg individual should aim for anywhere between 112 grams and 154 grams of protein per day, depending on their specific goals. This range ensures a consistent supply of amino acids to support muscle protein synthesis, the process by which the body rebuilds and strengthens muscle fibers after exercise. It's not just about hitting a daily protein target. The timing of protein intake can significantly impact how effectively your body uses that protein for muscle growth. One of the most effective strategies for optimizing protein utilization is to distribute protein intake evenly across your meals throughout the day. Research suggests that spreading your protein intake into 3-6 meals or snacks helps maintain a steady supply of amino acids in the bloodstream, supporting continuous muscle protein synthesis. This approach maximizes the anabolic response to each meal and helps prevent periods of muscle breakdown, which can occur if protein intake is too sporadic. Protein timing becomes even more important around your training windows. Consuming protein before and after workouts can amplify the muscle building process. The period surrounding exercise, often referred to as the anabolic window, is a time when your muscles are particularly receptive to nutrients and protein synthesis is heightened. For the most effective use of protein, it's crucial to ensure that you have a readily available supply of amino acids both before and after your workout. Consuming a protein-rich meal 1-2 hours before your workout ensures that your muscles have the necessary building blocks available during exercise. This meal should contain both protein and some carbohydrates, as the carbohydrates will help replenish glycogen stores, providing energy for the workout. The protein consumed before exercise helps prevent muscle breakdown during the workout, creating a more favorable environment for muscle repair and growth after. Post-workout nutrition is equally important. After intense resistance training, your muscles are in a catabolic state, meaning they've been broken down during exercise. To support recovery, you need to provide your body with an adequate amount of protein to kickstart the repair process. The post-workout window, typically considered to be within 30-60 minutes after exercise, is when your body is most insulin sensitive. Consuming 20-40 grams of high-quality protein during this window ensures that the muscle repair process begins promptly and the body is provided with the amino acids needed for muscle protein synthesis. Combining protein with carbohydrates post-workout helps replenish glycogen stores and further promotes recovery. A critical aspect of protein timing that is often overlooked is the quality of the protein you consume. Not all proteins are created equal in terms of their ability to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Whey protein, for instance, is considered one of the most effective sources due to its high leucine content, an amino acid that plays a pivotal role in the initiation of protein synthesis. Leucine stimulates mTOR, a key signaling pathway responsible for muscle growth. Animal-based proteins like those from meat, eggs, and dairy also tend to be complete proteins, meaning they contain all 9 essential amino acids necessary for muscle repair. Plant-based proteins, while effective, may require careful combination to ensure they provide a complete amino acid profile. While protein timing around workouts is crucial, overall protein intake throughout the day plays an equally important role. Protein consumption immediately before bed can also enhance muscle protein synthesis overnight. A slow digesting protein source like casein, which is found in dairy products, can be beneficial here as it provides a slow and steady release of amino acids during sleep, a critical time for muscle repair and growth. This ensures that the muscle building process continues even when you're not actively eating or training. The key to maximizing muscle growth lies in consistency, consistent protein intake throughout the day, with particular emphasis on pre- and post-workout nutrition, as well as ensuring the right types of protein are consumed. A well-structured nutrition plan that includes sufficient protein intake, adequate timing around training, and high-quality protein sources provides the body with everything it needs to repair, rebuild, and grow muscle tissue effectively. When combined with effective training, sleep, and recovery, this approach becomes a powerful tool for achieving your muscle growth goals. The hormonal environment in the body plays a crucial role in muscle growth, with hormones like testosterone and growth hormone acting as powerful anabolic agents that facilitate muscle repair, regeneration, and hypertrophy. While proper training, nutrition, and recovery are vital, optimizing your hormonal profile can enhance your results significantly, amplifying strength gains and improving overall performance. Additionally, effective neuromuscular engagement, especially through the mind-muscle connection, ensures that your muscles are fully activated during each exercise, making every rep count. Testosterone, often regarded as the most potent muscle-building hormone, directly influences protein synthesis and increases the activity of muscle satellite cells, specialized cells that help repair and regenerate muscle fibers. Testosterone levels naturally fluctuate throughout the day, but they can be influenced by factors such as age, sleep quality, diet, and training intensity. Beard strength training, especially heavy lifting and compound movements, has been shown to boost testosterone levels, temporarily elevating its presence in the bloodstream. This is why heavy multi-joint lifts like squats, Deadlifts and bench presses are so effective for stimulating muscle growth. They recruit large muscle groups and trigger the release of anabolic hormones, including testosterone. Growth hormone, GH, plays a pivotal role in muscle development. Like testosterone, it is released in response to resistance training and plays a major part in stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Growth hormone promotes the repair of damaged tissue and stimulates the production of insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, which further amplifies muscle regeneration and growth. GH also helps regulate fat metabolism, enabling your body to better use stored fat for energy during intense workout. To optimize growth hormone release, focus on training strategies that increase training volume and intensity, as well as incorporating compound lifts that challenge multiple muscle groups at once. Optimizing your hormonal environment goes beyond just focusing on increasing testosterone and growth hormone levels. To maximize their effectiveness in muscle growth, you need to engage your muscles properly during exercise. This is where neuromuscular engagement, particularly the mind-muscle connection, comes into play. Neuromuscular engagement refers to the ability of your brain to communicate with the muscles, sending signals to the muscle fibers to contract effectively. This communication ensures that the muscles you intend to target are properly engaged throughout the movement, rather than relying on momentum or other muscle groups to take over. The mind-muscle connection is the ability to consciously focus on the muscle you are working and intentionally activate it during each rep. This technique requires mental concentration and awareness of how your body moves. Whether you're performing a bicep curl, leg press, or squat, thinking about the muscle you're training, feeling it contract, stretch, and work throughout the entire movement ensures that it is fully engaged and subjected to the proper tension for maximum hypertrophy. Studies have shown that individuals who focus on the mind-muscle connection tend to activate more muscle fibers and experience greater muscle growth compared to those who simply go through the motions without intentional focus. This connection is especially important in exercises where multiple muscle groups are involved. In compound movements like squats and deadlifts, the muscles of the lower body are engaged along with the core and upper body. Without mental focus, some of these muscles may not fully activate, which can reduce the effectiveness of the movement. Training with an emphasis on the mind-muscle connection ensures that all the right muscles are targeted, leading to better overall engagement and more efficient use of your efforts. It's also worth noting that training intensity and volume can influence the effectiveness of neuromuscular engagement. The more intense your training, the greater the demand on your neuromuscular system to recruit muscle fibers, particularly those fast twitch fibers responsible for explosive movements and growth. As you continue to push your limits, your brain and muscles become more adept at communicating, improving muscle activation, and enhancing strength gain. Over time, this improved neuromuscular coordination leads to more efficient workouts, enabling you to lift heavier weights, perform more reps, and ultimately build stronger muscles. Hormones like testosterone and growth hormone create the right physiological environment for muscle growth, but neuromuscular engagement ensures that this environment is effectively utilized. To fully optimize your muscle building potential, combine hormonal strategies like focusing on heavy compound lifts with proper rest and recovery, with a mindful, conscious approach to each exercise. When you can maximize the activation of the targeted muscle groups, ensure optimal hormonal signaling, and maintain focus on technique and intensity, your ability to build muscle and strength will skyrocket. In essence, muscle growth is not just about lifting weights. It's about creating the right hormonal environment and coupling it with proper neuromuscular engagement. Testosterone and growth hormone are powerful allies, but without the mind-muscle connection, you won't fully activate your muscles or trigger the maximum growth response. By consciously connecting with each movement, improving muscle activation, and optimizing your training environment, you unlock the full potential for strength and hypertrophy. Consistency is the most underrated yet most powerful principle in any long-term pursuit of strength and hypertrophy. It is the repeated, deliberate exposure to training stimuli over time that allows the body to adapt, improve, and ultimately build bigger, stronger muscles. But consistency without structure often leads to stagnation, overtraining, or plateaus. This is where periodization becomes essential, a strategic method of organizing training into cycles that vary in intensity, volume, and recovery to promote continuous adaptation. Muscle growth does not occur in a linear fashion. You cannot continually add weight to the bar or increase training volume indefinitely without encountering diminishing returns, injury risk, or central nervous system fatigue. The human body is incredibly adaptive, but it requires careful manipulation of stress to continue responding. Periodization addresses this by strategically organizing training into phases or blocks, each with a specific focus, such as hypertrophy, strength, or recovery. These cycles ensure that your muscles are constantly challenged in new ways while still allowing time for recovery and regeneration. One of the most effective approaches to periodization is linear periodization, where training starts with higher volume and lower intensity and gradually transitions to lower volume and higher intensity over the course of several weeks or months. This gradual shift gives the body time to accumulate muscular endurance, then build size, and eventually develop maximum strength. In contrast, undulating periodization varies intensity and volume more frequently, sometimes daily or weekly, so that different physical qualities are trained in a fluctuating pattern. Both methods work, and the choice depends on your individual goals, recovery capacity, and training history. Regardless of the model, the fundamental goal of periodization is to prevent accommodation. When your training remains unchanged for too long, your body stops adapting because the stimulus no longer demands it. Periodization ensures that the stimulus is always evolving, whether through changes in rep ranges, rest intervals, exercise selection, or loading schemes. This variability is what drives continuous growth. For example, a phase focused on hypertrophy might involve moderate load, 60-75% of your 1 rep max, for higher reps, 8-12, and relatively short rest periods. This would then transition into a strength phase with heavier loads, 80-90% of your 1 rep max, lower reps, H-0, and longer reps. These variations target different muscle fibers, stimulate different hormonal responses, and challenge the neuromuscular system in unique ways. But none of this works without consistency. Periodization assumes that you're showing up week after week, completing your sessions with intent, and tracking your progress with discipline. Missing workouts, skipping deloads, or failing to follow the structure interrupts the entire adaptive process. Your body needs consistent exposure to training stress to reinforce movement patterns, enhance neuromuscular efficiency, and stimulate tissue remodeling. Each cycle builds upon the last, so when consistency is broken, progress is delayed or reversed. It's also important to emphasize the role of recovery phases in periodization. Many lifters fall into the trap of believing that more is always better, leading them to neglect deload weeks or low-intensity blocks. But these lighter periods are critical. They allow your central nervous system to recover, reduce inflammation, and prepare your body for the next phase of intense training. Without structured recovery, you risk overtraining and injury, both of which can halt progress entirely. Periodization recognizes that rest is not the absence of training, but a vital component of it. Tracking your training, understanding your own recovery needs, and adjusting your cycles accordingly allows you to individualize the periodization model to your biology. No two bodies respond the same way to volume and intensity, so becoming aware of your personal feedback, energy levels, sleep quality, soreness, performance helps you refine the structure for maximum effectiveness. Over time, your body becomes more efficient at adapting to varied stimuli, leading to a higher ceiling of strength and size.